Chapter 44, Indomitable, Badr's Majestic Stand. Badr saw the attack of the three fallen angels approaching. Sensing danger, he immediately controlled the sacred shield to block in front of him and Asia. The golden pupils in his eyes shone brilliantly, and Badr sensed and activated a strange power. In the next instant, the magic within Badr was violently drawn out. At that moment, the aura emanating from the silver shield also changed. It was a kind of immensely majestic aura, and in the perception of Badr and the others, what was in front of them did not look like a shield, but an ancient, towering, epic superfortress. The kind of stability and thickness, like a mountain, seemed eternal and indestructible no matter how time changed. The attacks of the three fallen angels came as expected and smashed into the sacred shield. But to their astonishment, their attacks melted away like snowflakes when they touched the shield. It was as if a deep abyss had opened its mouth wide, and their sacred power first stood still and then rapidly dissipated, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The three fallen angels wore expressions as if they had seen a ghost. Their attack was easily blocked by a mid-level devil. Badr suddenly understood. It seemed that he had unlocked a new ability of the sacred shield. Previously, he had used the shield's built-in protective field to defend himself against enemies. If the gear had a spirit, it would probably be depressed since its mighty power was not being used by its owner. This immovable, majestic power was the true ability of the sacred shield. Even the attacks of the three fallen angels could be easily blocked. Of course, there was a price to pay, which was that the magic within Badr was almost depleted. After that, the sacred shield calmed down, and the connection with the Black Giant City was completely severed. A series of related information suddenly appeared in Badr's mind, and he immediately understood it. If his magic power was sufficient, he could use the sacred shield to truly summon the Black Giant City. This Black Giant City was the ultimate move of the sacred shield, the City of Endless Twilight. Within the area covered by this giant city, all of Badr's statuses would be frozen. As long as he did not deactivate this move, all of his statuses would remain frozen forever. Unfortunately, he was still unable to fully utilize this power, only able to activate a small part of it and inject it into the shield itself. Even with this small amount of power, Badr had already blocked the combined attack of the three fallen angels. This situation even surprised Badr himself, and he even felt that he still had the power to attack. Taking advantage of the shield's cover, he attacked without hesitation and slashed a sword light at Freed. The priest who had been hit by Badr's sealing magic earlier had had his sacred power sealed and had almost borne the brunt of Rias and Himejima Akino's magic attacks. He was barely hanging on now. Not surprisingly, Badr's sword strike decapitated him. Then Badr immediately took Asia and retreated, distancing himself from the three fallen angels. The three of them, not wanting to give up, tried to chase after him, but were met head-on by the powerful magic attacks of Rias and Himejima Akino. Frustrated, the three of them had to defend themselves again, watching helplessly as Badr brought Asia back to Ria's side. Well done. Ria's beautiful eyes curved into a smile, very pleased with Badr's performance. Era. Now we can go all out, Himejima Akino said, licking her lips as she looked at the three fallen angels as if they were delicious desserts. The overwhelming presence of the sadistic queen. Badr felt a moment of silence for the three fallen angels. Akino, don't let any of them escape. Ria's demeanor was elegant, but the killing intent in her voice was chilling. Obviously, today's events had enraged the red-haired princess of destruction, and she wouldn't rest until all the fallen angels were destroyed. In the time that followed, Badr did not relax, but watched as Rias and Himejima Akino unleashed their full power. Without a care in the world, the two of them were terrifying. Their overwhelming magical power and powerful area of effect spells making one's scalp tingle. Rias, worthy of a pure-blooded devil, was still a minor, but her strength was already at the upper tier of the high-class devil level. And as her queen, Himejima Akino possessed the characteristics of all devil pieces, her strength absolutely terrifying, no less than her master Rias. It didn't take long for the high-level fallen angel to be the first to fall, as he was only at the intermediate devil level. Without relying on two top-tier fallen angels for guerrilla tactics, he would have been no match for Rias and her team. With one fallen angel no longer sharing the attack, the fate of the remaining two was inevitable. Soon, two screams were heard in quick succession, black feathers falling from the sky as the two were reduced to ashes under the onslaught of lightning and fire. Only then did Badr finally relax, his body going limp as he almost clung to Asia. "Badr, are you okay?" Asia asked worriedly. "Just exhausted." Badr managed to answer. His wounds had recovered significantly under Asia's healing, but he was still weak from blood loss. The main reason, however, was that his magic had been overused, causing some damage to his body. "Let's go back first, Asia. You come with me. You heal Badr while I replenish his magic. He'll recover soon." Rias approached and tenderly stroked the young man's face. "You worked hard today." Badr shook his head and smiled faintly. "I have successfully advanced." The girl was stunned for a moment, realizing that the boy was striving to meet her expectations. Her gaze softened and she muttered, "Silly, don't try so hard in the future." The morning sunlight shone on his face, the warmth gradually awakening Badr. He raised a hand to block the light and glanced at his watch. It was already 8:30 in the morning. He was late for school, murmuring to himself. Badr had no intention of getting up. Late was late. His right arm touched smooth skin, and when he turned his head, he found Rias sleeping soundly beside him. Oh yes, she healed him again last night. Healing required skin-to-skin contact, which made the process quite intimate, something that always tested Badr's willpower. When he thought about it, being a devil wasn't that bad. It's just that he was too tired and fell asleep, wasting a chance to be close to Rias, a bit of a waste. Badr smiled, then moved closer to embrace Rias' soft body. Feeling the smooth skin of the girl in his arms, Badr felt even less like getting up. After finally breaking through yesterday, he considered this a reward for himself. After getting intimate with Rias the last time, Badr didn't suppress his desires anymore, especially since Rias liked him and didn't mind getting close to him. However, Badr suddenly noticed that the bed was moving again, and Rias was sleeping soundly. Confused, Badr heard a soft, sleepy murmur and then a pair of white arms wrapped around him from behind. The touch of smooth skin was unmistakable. Besides Rias, who else? Badr sat up slightly and looked back, only to be stunned. Asia! Why was she also in his bed? And like Rias, not wearing anything? Wait a minute. Why such a naughty scene in the early morning? Badr remembered the events of last night. Besides Rias, there seemed to be another person's voice. While he was thinking, Badr noticed that Rias was awake. She was smiling at him. More precisely, at his hand in a place where it shouldn't be. "You're being naughty so early." Without moving his hand, Rias asked, "How do you feel? Any discomfort?" His body felt great. "All right, I'm fully recovered." "You bad boy." "Oh dear, looks like we need to change the sheets." Rias blinked. "No problem, we have plenty of clean ones." Badr remained calm. Gently holding Rias' hand at his waist, he asked, "Why is Asia here too? Why not ask her?" Rias smiled. He turned around. He saw Asia blushing deeply. Seeing this, Badr called softly, "Asia? Asia wants it too. It's unfair to only be with President Badr." Chapter 45. Rias, Asia, and Badr's morning promotion exam. Just now, Badr and Rias had explored each other a bit, and of course Asia had woken up. After all, Badr and Rias hadn't been considerate of her at all. But being thin-skinned, Asia's face was completely red. Still, she stubbornly clung to Badr without letting go. Seeing Asia's shy and envious expression, Rias seemed to feel she'd gained a lot, lying on her side, supporting her cheek with her hand, and smiling happily. "After I finished healing you yesterday, she insisted on staying as well." "That's because, President, you just fell asleep next to Badr." Asia, looking frustrated and unconvinced, said, "But that's normal. After all, President is gentle and beautiful, It's natural for Badr to like her. Saying this, she compared her own figure with Rias and sighed even deeper. Look how you've enchanted our little Asia. Rias looked at Badr and reproached him teasingly. Badr felt innocent in his heart. What have I done? Is this girl really sure that she likes me? Even if she was very moved by my rescue yesterday, it shouldn't have led to her sleeping with me like that. Asia, you're too easy to marry. He could only say this in a resigned tone. Not at all. Badr is very charming, Asia replied loudly. Badr chuckled helplessly and said to Rias, Isn't it because my face is too handsome? Exactly, you are my cutest servant. Rias continued with a smile. Although she said servant, her eyes clearly showed that she saw him as a lover, and she couldn't help but kiss Badr. This made Asia's head buzz immediately. Pre-president. How can you be like this? It's too unfair. As soon as Rias let go of Badr, Asia immediately pounced on him. Badr wanted to say something, but soon Asia's lips blocked his, leaving him no choice but to give up. This kind of life. It was almost 10 o'clock when Badr, Rias, and Asia arrived at the school via the teleportation array. Of course, there was no talk of punishment for being late. As long as Rias spoke to the student council, the teachers wouldn't ask much. In the club room, after Rias had finished talking about her lateness, Badr suddenly spoke up. I forgot. We have exams today. Rias spread her hands helplessly. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, we encountered enemies yesterday. Oh my, only the three of you didn't have exams, Akino Himejima said with a smile as she served them tea. Rias didn't care about the exams at all, but she seemed to remember something. Speaking of exams, Badr's power has already reached the level of a mid-level devil, but his rank still needs to be upgraded by the promotion exam. Badr raised his eyebrow slightly. Promotion exam? In the club room, Badr soon got an explanation about the promotion exam from Rias. The devil ranks are currently divided into low-class devil, middle-class devil, high-class devil, and ultimate-class devil. And to explain further, the devil ranks we usually talk about should be understood in two ways. Rias raised two fingers. One is the division of power, and the other is the division of rank. Badr raised an eyebrow slightly. What exactly does that mean? Most of the time, devils are ranked according to their positions. For example, I am a high-class devil, Akino and Kaneko are both middle-class devils, and you, Badr, are a low-class devil. You should have known this a long time ago. I know that. Enemies had always referred to him as such, calling him a low-class devil. Of course, enemies wouldn't have anything nice to say. Badr was not proud of being a low-class devil. After all, who doesn't start weak and get stronger step by step? Rias continued with a smile. But actually, Badr, you must have wondered why Akino is still a mid-class devil when her fighting power is already not inferior to mine. This question had indeed puzzled Badr for a long time, as Akino Himejima's strength was undoubtedly at the level of a high-class devil. After listening to Rias' explanation, Badr finally understood something and said, The reason is that even though Akino's combat strength is at the level of a high-class devil, her rank is still mid-class because she hasn't passed the promotion test. These terms sound the same, but they're actually two different ranking systems, right? Yes, you got it. Badr nodded speechlessly. So one is a power ranking, and the other is a title ranking, huh? Yes, that's a fair way of understanding it. Rias smiled as she took Badr's arm. Don't underestimate the importance of this title, because only those who have been granted the rank of high-class devil by the Satan are qualified to receive devil pieces. Huh? Are you talking about those devil pieces that were used on us? That's right, and that's the significance of the promotion test. Even you, Badr, can become a high-level devil through the promotion test, and then become a king yourself. But I am your servant, Rias. So after you become a high-class devil, you will be independent and can form your own team, Rias said with a smile. Badr chuckled. Just hearing about it sounds like a distant thing. I'm quite happy being your servant now, so there's no rush. Hearing this, Rias' eyes softened a bit. You need to have some ambition. Even if you become independent, you'll always be my favorite person in my heart. Oh my, is that a confession? Akino Himejima teased from the side. Ria's expression froze slightly, as if she remembered something, and her face darkened. She did have strong feelings for Badr, but she didn't feel qualified to say she liked him yet. After all, there was her family. At that thought, a hint of sadness flickered in the girl's eyes. Badr understood Ria's difficulties, knowing that she was thinking about the fiancé her family had arranged for her. Don't think too much about the future, just focus on the present. He seemed to be talking to himself, but he was also advising Rias. Rias gathered her emotions and forced a smile. Anyway, that's the situation. Badr, your current power is at the level of a mid-level devil, but it's not easy to pass the promotion test. Without it, you'll always be considered a low-class devil. It seemed that the promotion test was quite difficult to pass. But Badr wasn't particularly worried. Is the promotion examination that difficult? If so, we can ignore it for a while. Being a low-class devil is just a title. I don't really care about it. As long as his strength was strong enough. That was enough for him. He didn't envy the promotion test and the title of mid-class devil. Strength is the foundation. As long as his strength was strong enough, as a low-class devil, he could still defeat those so-called high-class devils. If he were to envy anything, it would be those strong beings at the high-class devil level. In order to take the promotion test, one must either make special contributions or excel in the ranking games. After all, these rules are set to increase the power of the devil race, so it's worth striving for. Rias smiled, clearly hoping that Badr would strive to pass the advancement test to become a high-class devil, as this would raise his status and attract significant. Yes, so work hard. Try to sign some important contracts. That's also an important aspect of evaluation. And maintain your relationship with your superstar girlfriend. When Rias mentioned Badr's human contract goal, her expression was completely normal, but Badr could still sense a bit of jealousy in her eyes. Badr, are you dating your contract target? Asia immediately teared up. Actually, I can do that too. It seems I have to work harder. You're such a playboy. Kaneko mocked him directly. Looking at the suddenly chaotic scene, Badr was speechless. Speaking of which, I'm quite worried about Mai. She doesn't accept this worldview as easily as I do. Badr said quietly, actually feeling a bit worried. Rias raised her eyebrows slightly. You don't seem to realize that your superstar girlfriend is just a human with a lifespan of no more than 80 years, while you as a devil have an eternal life. I've thought about it. Badr sighed softly. Now that I think about it, I really need to attain the rank of a high-class devil. Only by becoming a high-class devil and possessing devil pieces will he be able to turn his loved ones into devils and live with them forever. Rias smiled with satisfaction. It's good that you understand. So work hard. Develop more clan members for our devils. Badr chuckled. The person who invented the devil pieces must have been a genius. Haha, indeed. Rias stepped forward and kissed Badr on the cheek in front of everyone. Make sure you finish your work well tonight. After school, Badr and the others gathered in the clubroom. After her shower, Rias came out wrapped in a towel. Her stunning appearance was extremely eye-catching. But such a beautiful sight could only be enjoyed by Badr, the only male in the clubroom. Rias glanced at Badr, completely unconcerned that her current attire was provocative. They had done everything but the last step, so what was there to worry about? In fact, this was the reason why Badr was always envied and resented by the boys in his class. His relationship with Rias and the others was too good, making those who admired these beauties feel cold inside. Originally, the Occult Research Club had Rias, Akino Himejima, and Kaneko Tuju, 3 super beauties. After Asia was transferred to Ko Academy, there were 4 great beauties in this club. In this situation, Badr, the only boy in the Occult Research Club, made everyone feel unbalanced. In the eyes of many classmates, Badr was just a slightly better-looking guy. So why was he the only one allowed to join Rias' club? Badr's daily behavior was always very ordinary. He seemed very normal in his interactions with others, but he always managed to maintain a perfect balance in his relationships, never getting too close or too distant with anyone. Even when he did something with others, they would not have a strong impression of Badr afterward, remaining in a state of unfamiliarity. Only Rias and the others understood his true nature. They knew that Badr's real personality was somewhat reclusive. He didn't like to talk to people, but he always acted very normal. A person who is reclusive but unaware is pitiful, but a person who is reclusive and aware is incredibly resilient. Because of this, Rias and the others saw Badr as very strong. One day, he would no longer be able to hide his brilliance, and he would shine brightly in front of everyone, and at that time, he would be unprecedentedly powerful. Chapter 46. The Nakano Sisters Summon. Fortunately, Badr never hid his true feelings from Rias and the others. He spoke and laughed as usual, clearly showing that his relationship with them was already very close. This feeling of successfully opening the boy's heart gave Rias and Aquino a sense of accomplishment. Rias clapped her hands lightly, drawing everyone's attention. Has everyone received a contract request today? Everyone except Badr raised their hands. Badr. Summoning his familiar sealing stamp, Badr spoke softly. Have you been playing around instead of working? The sealing stamp flapped its wings and flew around wildly, clearly unhappy with Badr's accusation. It had diligently distributed the flyers. Badr was skeptical. If you distributed them properly, who did you give them to? The sealing stamp immediately presented a long list of distribution records, flooding Badr's mind with numerous images. After a quick scan, a few black lines appeared on Badr's forehead. Why did you only give them to girls? Hearing this, Rias and the others came closer, looking at the sealing stamp with mixed feelings. This little guy really was mischievous. Not only did it like stripping clothes off, but it was also quite harsh towards men. All right, giving them all to girls isn't a big deal. Are you discriminating against women? Rias said with a laugh. Generally, the desires of females can be satisfied by males. Males are naturally inclined to show off to attract females. This is an instinctive part of species evolution, Badr said calmly. Therefore, the desires of human females can mostly be met by males, commonly known as simps. My target group was wrong. No wonder I couldn't find a contract. Everyone. Is it really that complicated? Really, look at the genders of your contract clients, and you'll find that most of them are male. They looked at each other and, upon closer inspection, realized it was true. Badr exhaled softly. Females can choose to rely on males, but males can only rely on themselves. If they don't make themselves excellent, they lose their mating rights. Such people are under a lot of pressure, and high pressure leads them to seek as devils for help. Rias and the others were speechless. It feels like something is off, but there seems to be some truth to it, Kaneko said, looking puzzled at Badr. Badr looked indifferent, spreading his hands. If it weren't for life's pressures, who would bother to develop so many talents? Everyone. Rias smiled gently. All right, stop philosophizing. Those of us with contract requests need to get to work to fulfill those poor men's desires. Badr tilted his head. That sounds like some kind of service industry. If there are excessive requests, you must refuse them and punish them. Especially Asia. She's too pure. Huh? Of course not, Rias said with a laugh. Although there are indeed humans who make excessive requests, such requests are handled by lower-ranked devils. We, the Gremory family, would never take on such requests. Badr smiled faintly. Even without Rias saying so, he could guess. After all, Rias' performance in bed was too inexperienced, not at all like someone with experience. Everyone prepared to leave. Even Rias had a contract request. In the end, Badr was left with nothing to do. Watching everyone teleport away one by one, Badr could only sit on the sofa and read a book. This was really annoying. He had just gone to Mai yesterday to absorb the benefits of the contract. Although he wanted to see Mai, it wouldn't be good to cling to her every day, as she still had work to do. Damn it, even his girlfriend had work. Everyone had work. But he was the only one idle and bored? Badr pursed his lips, thinking he might have to distribute flyers himself, even with a familiar. That would be too low. Just as he was feeling speechless, Badr suddenly noticed himself glowing. Was this a contract summon? After confirming it was indeed a summoning spell, and not from my Sakurajima, but a new summoning client, Glancing at the ceiling stamp, he thought that this guy distributed flyers to beautiful girls, who usually had many admirers willing to fulfill their wishes. It seemed luck was on his side. Perhaps a blind cat had caught a dead mouse. No matter. How could he miss such an opportunity? Badr immediately stood up with a smile. Yes, I love work. In a large high-end apartment building, there was a burst of cheerful laughter. Ah, finally home. I'm exhausted, a girl said in a tone full of relief, collapsing heavily onto the sofa. Beside her stood 4 other girls. But what was surprising was that all 5 girls looked identical. They were quintuplets. The door closed, and the nameplate on the wall beside the door had the standard characters, Nakano. Ichika, you're taking up too much space. Move over a bit, said the girl with black butterfly hair bands, walking over. She was the second oldest of the quintuplets, named Nakano Nino. Their names were ordered by age, and the one on the sofa was the eldest, Nakano Ichika. Haha, sorry, please sit, Nakano Ichika said, wriggling a bit and hugging a pillow, contentedly pressing her face against it with a cute moan of comfort. Nakano Nino sat on the sofa, looking at her 3 sisters opposite her, Nakano Miku, Nakano Yatsuba, and Nakano Itsuki. So, what now? We did so poorly on the exams. Dad will definitely rush back from the company when he finds out, Nino said in a troubled tone. Yatsuba immediately shrank her neck, awkwardly smiling and touching the green ribbon on her head. She had undoubtedly taken the last place among her sisters in this exam, gloriously scoring 0. Next to her, Nakano Miku leaned casually against the sofa, while Nakano Itsuki rummaged through the refrigerator for some milk. Prepare for a scolding, Miku replied lightly, then fell silent without further explanation. It shouldn't be a big problem. Dad's probably used to it, Itsuki said nonchalantly after sipping her milk. Haha, then let's not worry, Ichika said casually, seemingly not concerned at all. She turned over, stretching comfortably. So tired. Let's wash up and watch the latest movie on the sofa. If you all don't care, then I won't either, Nino said, smirking and giving up as well. Itsuki, carrying her milk, suddenly noticed a piece of paper sticking out of Yatsuba's pocket. Yatsuba, what's this? As she spoke, Itsuki reached into Yatsuba's pocket and pulled out the paper. The sisters saw that it was a complex pattern that looked like a magic circle. Itsuki read the text on it aloud. The most magical wish spell, granting all your desires. Make a wish now. After reading, Nino showed a bored expression. Really? I thought some boy had slipped you a love letter. Yatsuba, why are you still playing with such childish things? Yatsuba chuckled awkwardly. It's not that. I saw a very pretty lady handing out flyers on the way home, and she gave me one, so I took it. Probably just another boring mall promotion, Nino said dismissively. Yatsuba, you really need to learn to say no. You don't have to accept everything handed to you. I just thought her job looked tough. The sisters didn't comment further. They knew Yatsuba's personality. This flyer doesn't mention any specific promotional events. Strange, Itsuki said, tossing it on the table. Miku, sitting on the sofa armrest, glanced at the odd flyer, but didn't pay much attention. Let me see a wish spell. Can I really make a wish? Yatsuba's green ribbon twitched as she looked intrigued. No way. Yatsuba, do you really believe in that? Nino rolled her eyes. I thought maybe I could wish for some luck. It's unfair that I scored 0, even though I answered seriously. Yatsuba mumbled. Ichika couldn't help but laugh. You could have guessed a few right. Maybe you do need some divine luck. Right? Yatsuba ignored her sister's teasing, genuinely starting to pray and make a wish. Her 4 sisters watched in silence. If wishes worked, they would have asked for perfect scores long ago. But as they were dismissing it, Yatsuba, praying sincerely, made her wish. The next moment, the flyer on the table, with the magic circle, began to glow. It brightened rapidly, hovering in the air. Itsuki, the first to notice, stood frozen, holding her milk, staring at the levitating magic circle in confusion. Miku and Nino noticed too, followed by Ichika, who opened her eyes at Itsuki's exclamation. The magic circle slowly separated from the flyer, growing larger and brighter. Whoosh! With a soft sound, a figure emerged from the circle, landing lightly before the astonished girls. Facing them, Yotsuba gaped, still clasping her hands in prayer, staring at the boy who appeared out of nowhere. Badr arrived via the summoning, using his own teleportation spell. With his magic level upgraded to mid-level devil, he could finally use the teleport. Asian magic he had once envied. This initial experience was quite satisfying. Looking at his summoners, he raised an eyebrow. These 5 girls looked identical. What was going on? Slightly surprised internally, Badr maintained a calm exterior, looking at Yotsuba. He knew she was the one who summoned him through the contract. Chapter 47. The Nakano sisters meet Badr, a devil's offer. Responding to the summons, this lovely young lady. My name is Badr, a devil here to fulfill your wish. Everyone. After a brief silence, the Nakano sisters all huddled together. Even though Nakano Ichika was very scared, she still stood in front of her younger sisters, looking at Badr with eyes full of fear. Isn't this a normal reaction? Badr couldn't help but think. As expected, Mai Sakurajima was an exception. When she first saw him, she was too calm. Thinking this, he completely overlooked how he had reacted when he first encountered such a supernatural event. Who are you? How did you get in here? Although Nakano Ichika heard Badr's self-introduction, her mind clearly couldn't believe it, so she asked again, extremely nervous. Seeing this, Badr took 2 steps back and naturally raised his hands, indicating that he meant no harm. I said it before, beautiful young ladies, my name is Badr, a devil summoned here to fulfill your wishes. As he spoke, he lightly waved his hand, and a flyer appeared out of thin air through his magic. You should remember this thing, right? His tone was very calm. After he finished speaking, he crossed his arms and stood there quietly watching them. It had to be said that Badr's demeanor was quite impressive. Dressed entirely in black, his leather jacket fit him perfectly, making him look both cool and handsome. Standing there now, he didn't exude any abrupt aura, giving the girls the impression that he was just like an ordinary human. But they couldn't help but believe his words. Looking at the newly appeared flyer, it was obvious that this was enough evidence. So what's going on? Why did you come to our house? Nakano Ichika asked. As the eldest, she had always protected her younger sisters, and at this moment, the girls were still very scared, staying far away from Badr. Simply put, it's supernatural power. That flyer is our summoning mechanism. You humans make a wish and summon us devils, and we come to fulfill your requests. Huh? If we want to make a wish, shouldn't we make it to the gods? Shouldn't angels come instead? What does this have to do with devils? Nakano Nino, gathering her courage, questioned. Hearing the words gods and angels, Badr raised his eyebrows slightly, but didn't mind too much. He calmly said, Did you make a wish to the gods? Did they send an angel to fulfill your wish? The girls were speechless. Of course, if an angel had appeared, they would have known about these things already. Badr continued calmly. All right? Unfortunately, the ones who come to fulfill your wishes are only us devils. Gods and angels usually just want to leech off your faith. The girls looked at each other. Suddenly, Nakano Yotsuba became a bit excited. Wow, is this true? Mr. Devil, did I really summon you? Are you really a devil from myths and legends? Full of energy, Nakano Yotsuba seemed to be quite thick-skinned. Seeing Badr's calm demeanor, she quickly returned to her original self. Hearing this, Badr showed a businesslike smile. Yes, a genuine devil. As he spoke, a pair of devil wings unfolded behind him. Wow! Nakano Yotsuba was extremely excited, her big eyes staring at the wings behind Badr as if she had discovered a new world. Seeing the girls finally calming down, Badr smiled and asked, May I sit down? Please sit, please sit. Ichika hurriedly responded. Badr then sat down on the sofa opposite them. Seeing the 5 sisters still huddled together, he couldn't help but laugh a little and said, You should believe that I mean no harm by now. Why don't you all sit down? After all, you are the hosts here. Sorry for being rude. Ichika forced a smile, and the girls finally sat down again, although they still looked at Badr with nervous eyes. Badr-san, is it? Nakano Itsuki couldn't help but speak up. Yes. Hello, my name is Nakano Itsuki. The girl swallowed nervously and carefully asked. You possess supernatural powers like in the movies, right? Why have we never heard of this before? Because if humans don't intend to make a contract with us, we will erase all memories related to these things from their minds. You will completely forget the relevant facts, and from then on, we won't disturb each other. Badr patiently explained, as it was clear that these girls were encountering a devil for the first time. They were different from clients like Kaneko Tuju and Akino Himejima, who were often repeat customers, which made things much more convenient. After hearing his words, the girls all slightly opened their mouths. Controlling memories? Really? Nakano Miku couldn't help but speak up, originally quite scared. That's right. This is a simple matter for both angels and devils. Nakano Yatsuba's eyes sparkled. Amazing. Can you really fulfill my wish? Ms. Nakano Yatsuba, your wish was to pass the exams together with your sisters, right? Badr smiled faintly. When Badr revealed her wish, Nakano Yatsuba was stunned for a moment, feeling a bit embarrassed. Oh no, did I reveal my wish? Will it still come true then? Badr was speechless, thinking that this girl was really simple and cute. He tapped his temple. I can manipulate your memory to deeply imprint the knowledge in your brain while studying. You won't be able to forget it even if you try. If you want, you can even score full marks. Really? Nakano Yatsuba was shocked. That's amazing. Yes, as long as you make a contract with me. After fulfilling your wish, I will receive compensation through our contract. That's why I'm here. Wait, what kind of compensation? Nakano Ichika, being more mature, immediately asked another question. Badr smiled faintly. Have you heard of a myth where a human sacrificed their anger, greed, sadness, etc., to a devil to save their lover and gained immense power to kill a monster and save their lovers? Huh? Does that mean you also need sacrifices? Isn't that a severe price? Nakano Ichika and the others were shocked, showing signs of refusal. I haven't finished yet, Badr said faintly. We do require such power as compensation, but it's not about completely taking away your emotions. It's about gradually collecting them through the contract. It's not the same as the drastic method you're thinking of. Badr then tilted his head. I used killing the goose that lays the golden eggs as a metaphor. Don't misunderstand. Everyone. There was no need to add that last part. If you can't speak, don't. Badr's arrival brought a huge shock to the Nakano quintuplets. After the initial shock, they finally adapted and regained their composure, mainly because Badr's demeanor was too calm and not at all fierce. So after overcoming their initial fear, they were quickly drawn to this special existence. After all, supernatural powers presented a completely new worldview for these girls, who originally lived in an ordinary world. So, there's another side to this world that ordinary humans like us don't understand. Nakano Itsuki sighed. These matters don't have much to do with you. In most cases, neither angels nor devils will interfere with the human world. Also, please keep my identity a secret, and nowadays the angels, fallen angels, and devils had already stopped fighting, only having occasional small conflicts. All three factions had too few members, and humans had been the dominant force for many years, a fact everyone had to admit. So, Ms. Nakano Yatsuba, would you like to make a contract with me? I can let you experience my power first. Badr asked calmly. Since he was revealing his identity as a devil, he didn't need to act ordinary anymore, making him seem slightly aloof to the girls. Okay. Come on. Make me a magical girl who saves the world, Nakano Yatsuba said excitedly. Saving the world isn't your part, but you are already a beautiful girl. Badr responded calmly, and then picked up the girl's school bag, taking out a textbook. Next, I will teach you the knowledge from the book, and you will remember it completely. Seeing Badr's actions, everyone was speechless. Do I really have to study? Can't you just use magic to put the knowledge directly into my brain? Nakano Nino asked, her eyes half closed, wishing for an easy way. Sorry, even devils don't have such magic. Badr was speechless, thinking, do you want to slack off even when just learning? Yatsuba was very cooperative, immediately sitting next to Badr like a well-behaved student, ready to study hard. You're all in the second year of high school, right? Perfect. I've learned these courses too, so teaching you is no problem. Badr pointed to a section in the textbook, which was exactly the lesson the teacher had taught today. He had thoroughly understood it, and teaching it to a poor student like Yatsuba was more than enough. Badr-san, are you also a high school student? Mika blinked, looking surprised. Yes, I'm in my second year too. Any problem with that? It's just so different from what I imagined a devil to be. Nakano Ichika laughed dryly. Everyone nodded in agreement. Aren't devils supposed to be killing and causing trouble everywhere? How did Badr turn into a high school student who distributes flyers and fulfills wishes? Badr calmly sharpened a pencil with a knife and said with ease, before understanding the true nature of the world, who can say for sure? At first, didn't he also think devils were bad? But after becoming a devil himself, oh, it was indeed appealing. All right, let's start. I will explain this knowledge point. Ms. Nakano Yatsuba, please listen carefully. No problem. Just call me Yatsuba. The girl smiled energetically. Okay, Yatsuba, please guide me. Badr naturally closed the gap between them and began explaining, while also using his power to manipulate memories, forcing the girl to remember the knowledge points he taught. Soon he finished explaining. How about it? Did you remember everything I said? He looked at Yatsuba and also glanced at the other four sisters. The other sisters were all dazed, as what Badr had explained sounded like a foreign language to them. Yatsuba, however, excitedly exclaimed, I really remembered everything. Badr nodded in satisfaction, but the next moment he was stunned. Chapter 48. Contracts and Calculations. Plans for the Nakano sisters. Nakano Yatsuba blinked her eyes. But I still don't understand these questions. Why? Badr was puzzled. Didn't I just explain the key points to you? Huh? Were those the key points you were talking about? Yatsuba was shocked. Badr. At that moment, Badr suddenly felt a sense of exasperation. He suddenly understood. He had indeed used magical power to force Yatsuba to remember some knowledge. But, for an idiot, what use is it to just remember knowledge without understanding it? Miscalculation. Badr's eyes narrowed slightly. Undoubtedly, the Nakano Yatsuba in front of him was exactly that kind of adorable idiot. Had he underestimated the problem? Even with photographic memory, learning knowledge isn't that easy. Nakano Ichika and the others were also speechless. How is this possible? Is there no magic that can save you, Yatsuba? Ichika murmured with a wry smile. There's no hope. Miku sighed. Nino looked at Yatsuba with a smile. Were you too busy thinking about becoming a magical girl? There must be something wrong. Let's try again. Itsuki comforted. Badr sat on one side, his gaze sweeping over the five sisters. Forgive me for being blunt, but your academic performance is probably about the same, right? This comment immediately silenced the four sisters who had been making sarcastic remarks, and they suddenly wilted like Yatsuba. Looking at the five sisters in front of him, Badr suddenly found it interesting. He suddenly realized that this was a rare opportunity. Previously, he had only served one person, but now there were five potential contract partners right in front of him. Why not go big and make contracts with all five sisters? Leaning on the sofa's armrest, Badr propped his chin with his left hand, examining the five beautiful girls who looked exactly the same. He thought his idea was feasible. Badr understood that subjects like history and geography, which only required rote memorization, would not be a problem for them. The key issues were subjects like math and language arts, which had difficult concepts. These could be solved with a bit more time and proper explanation. Would you all like to make contracts with me? Badr looked at the beautiful girls, showing a faint smile. In exchange, I can tutor you in your studies and guarantee your smooth graduation. Badr's words were like a thunderclap in the hearts of the five sisters. They were indeed worried about their academic performance. Is this the legendary Devil's Whisper? Nakano Ichika couldn't help but smile and sigh. Nakano Nino sat with her arms crossed, snorted lightly, and said, "Are you sure you want to use this method? Don't you think it's suspicious? It sounds too good to be true." Suspecting the authenticity of the contract, Badr remained calm and said, "I have no reason to deceive you. We devils complete various human requests and then receive compensation to enhance our power. This is how devils survive today. I believe Badr-san is a good person." Nakano Yatsuba nodded repeatedly. "Thank you," Badr replied, "but I don't need a good person card." "Everyone?" Miku curiously asked. No matter what the difficulty, we can ask you for help." "That's right. The stronger the human desire, the richer the compensation we receive through the contract. So we will do our best to fulfill the request and satisfy human desires." "Wow, that sounds like it could easily be misunderstood." Nakano Itsuki muttered to herself. "Then, what if someone wants to do something criminal?" Badr's lips curled slightly, showing a bit of a wild smile. "Want to do it? I can't destroy the world, but I can blow up a school. After all, you don't like studying, right?" No. Don't listen to Itsuki's nonsense." Yatsuba waved her hands frantically. Badr chuckled internally. "Just kidding. Destructive actions are not allowed. There are rules. After all, it was a human-dominated era, and there were powerful individuals among humans. Angels and devils couldn't act recklessly. The ones who usually caused trouble were stray devils or exiled ones, who would be hunted down if they committed crimes." The five sisters exchanged glances, thinking that it didn't seem like there was much to hesitate about. "I think it's worth a try. We've encountered a magical world, and I don't want to have my memory erased." Nakano Ichika smiled and spoke first. Then it was Nakano Yatsuba, who was actually the most enthusiastic. After all, it was her wish, and Badr's appearance hit the mark for her. Miku and Itsuki also agreed, leaving only Nakano Nino. The girl hesitated for a moment, and then pouted. "What's the big deal? Since you all agreed, I have no objections. We're always in this together." "Done." Badr showed a faint smile, feeling very pleased. Unexpectedly, he had secured 5 contract partners at once, which was very important for a devil with only one contractor. He then seriously signed contracts with the beautiful girls. This time, it was just an ordinary contract, not like the faith contract with my Sakurajima that had amazed Rias. But with quantity, it made up for the quality. Moreover, it wasn't impossible to upgrade to a faith contract in the future. He could work towards that. Badr tapped his finger on the table, drawing the quintuplets' attention. "Next, I will tutor you in your studies. Before that, show me your exam papers. I need to understand your level." Upon hearing this, the 5 sisters' expressions changed. They looked at each other, all feeling embarrassed. Badr blinked and urged, "Where are the papers?" Reluctantly, they slowly took out their exam papers from their bags, and Badr collected them one by one. After looking through them, Badr was speechless for a long time. "Not bad, you got 100 points combined." Hearing this, the girls showed expressions of extreme embarrassment, awkwardly glancing around. Badr was speechless. He had expected their grades to be bad, as Yatsuba's wish was for them to graduate smoothly. But he hadn't expected it to be this bad. They only got 100 points combined. Did these quintuplets share a single brain? Badr pursed his lips, realizing he needed to spend some effort tutoring them. Using the power of memory alteration, it shouldn't be too difficult. "All right, it's no big deal. Don't worry, leave it to me." Badr's gentle words surprised the sisters slightly. "Really? You're the first person to tell us it's okay that our grades are bad," Nakano Ichika said with a smile. "But I didn't say not studying is okay. Learning more knowledge is beneficial to you." Badr responded casually, making Nino feel a bit speechless. "You sound just like those elders. Are you in your rebellious phase?" Badr tilted his head slightly, staring at Nakano Nino. "No," the girl glared back. "Speaking of which, since you're also a high school student, are your grades good?" Badr shrugged. "My grades are just on the passing line." "Huh? Then you're not much better. How can you teach us?" Nino said grumpily. Badr chuckled. "Just because I'm barely passing doesn't mean my knowledge level is low. Do you think it's hard for me to score full marks?" Everyone. Although his tone was calm, His words were full of arrogance. So, it was my fault for not understanding those key points. Nakano Yatsuba pouted. Maybe the real problem is someone teaching useless stuff? Nino glanced at Badr with ill intent. Badr raised an eyebrow and responded calmly. As an elder sister, how can you say that about your sister? Nino. Yatsuba. After a moment, everyone reacted and fell silent. Badr stood up, ignoring the slightly irritated Nakano Nino, and said to the beautiful girls, I'll be leaving now. Tomorrow, I'll prepare the study materials and tutor you. Rest well tonight? Oh, all right. We'll count on you then. Nakano Ichiko waved with a smile. See you tomorrow, Badr said, and with a flash of light from the teleportation array under his feet, he disappeared from their sight. This scene left the girls with their mouths agape, feeling incredulous. Returning home through teleportation magic, Badr began organizing the study materials for tomorrow while calling Rias to share the good news. Signing 5 contracts at once was a big deal, and Rias was very happy for him. But since Rias hadn't finished her own tasks, Badr didn't disturb her for long. After finishing his preparations, he began his daily workout until he was drenched in sweat before stopping. After taking a comfortable bath, he lay down on his bed, ending a fulfilling day. Feeling pretty good, Badr then called Mai Sakurajima, knowing she would be home by now. Chapter 49. Jealousy and Joy, Mai's heartfelt admissions. The phone was quickly connected, and Mai's familiar and pleasant voice came from the cell phone. Hello, it's me, Badr. I know, you're the only one who would call to bother me this late. Mai's tone sounded a bit lazy. Badr didn't mind Mai's teasing at all. After all, he really liked her personality. Are you already asleep? Not yet, I just finished taking a bath and am changing clothes, Mai replied. As expected, Badr heard the rustling sounds in the background. Badr raised an eyebrow and chuckled. So, what do you look like now, Mai? Please tell me. I'm already in my pajamas. That was quick. Wearing clothes to bed is really not right. Not wearing pajamas makes it easy to catch a cold. Mai wasn't afraid of Badr's teasing. You should let me hold your body to warm each other. You seem to be in a very good mood today. Even in the face of such private topics, Mai remained calm, although Badr didn't know if she was blushing on the other end of the line. It seemed that Mai Sakurajima had gotten to know Badr very well, guessing that he was in a good mood. Usually, Badr was quite reserved, only becoming a bit more lively when chatting with her, let alone being so flirtatious. Acknowledging his mood, Badr smiled and admitted, I encountered something happy. He then told her about signing 5 contracts in one go. Mai's tone turned wistful as she said, Isn't having me enough? Badr blinked and chuckled. So, Mai gets jealous too, huh? I'm not. Really? Of course not. The girl stubbornly denied it, but after 2 seconds of silence, she reluctantly said, It's just that I used to be the only contract partner you had, and it gave me a sense of exclusive satisfaction. Though I did expect that you would eventually find more contractors. Badr couldn't help but smile. Why do I feel so happy hearing you get jealous? Mai, you're too cute. Don't get carried away. If they weren't on the phone, Badr was sure Mai Sakurajima would have reached out to pinch his face or step on his foot. He felt a sweet sensation in his heart. I signed contracts to become stronger so I can protect everything I care about. You must understand that. Hearing Badr's words, Mai sat on the bed, nodded lightly after a moment of silence, and said, I know. You have your own exciting world. No, my world is exciting because of you all. Badr said seriously. That's why I need to become stronger, to protect all of this. If I lose you all, what's the point of guarding this life alone? So you all includes me, but I have no idea who else is in you all, Mai said softly. Badr was speechless for a moment, then softly said, There's my master and my companions who are also servants like me. They all know about you, but there's never been a chance for you to meet them. I'll find an opportunity for you to meet them next time. I feel like I don't really know you. Maybe I'm just a passerby in your life. After all, I'm different from you. My life is too short for you. Mai seemed to be lamenting, but was also very rational, making Badr feel her helplessness. Badr cleared his throat, sensing Mai's low spirits, and then got up, used his magic power, and directly teleported to my Sakurajama's house. It's not what you think. We'll be together forever. You're already the target of this devil, and now you can't escape. He stood in front of Mai's bed, smiling as he spoke. Mai, holding her phone, sat on the bed and stared at him in a daze. After being stunned for 2 seconds, she regained her senses and couldn't help but pout. This is an unauthorized invasion. Badr didn't respond, lifting the covers and getting into the bed, noticing Mai wearing cute pink pajamas. Ah, you really did put on your pajamas? My Sakurajima. She suddenly kicked out, her foot landing on Badr's face. Who told you to get into my bed, pervert? The girl blushed, especially since Badr had just taken a bath and only wore boxers when he teleported over, which undoubtedly gave Mai a considerable shock. Ugh! Badr grabbed Mai's foot, played with it a bit, then released it and hugged her shoulders. I came because I saw you were sad. He moved closer and kissed the girl's cheek with a gentle smile. So Mai, would you like to share eternity with me? Mai's cheeks turned slightly red, too shy to meet the boy's dark, bright eyes, and quickly turned her head away. Of course, I want eternity. I don't think I heard what I wanted to hear. Badr clicked his tongue. If you didn't hear it, then forget it. Let's sleep. Mai's eyes carried a smile as she spoke, then laid down directly. She turned her back to Badr, as if she really intended to sleep. Badr smiled softly, moved closer, hugged Mai's soft waist from behind, and his hand found hers. The girl immediately opened her fingers, intertwining them with his. No words were needed. Their hearts were already connected. Badr gently smelled Mai's hair fragrance, softly kissing her neck. The big star was already blushing, her eyes carrying a touch of charm, truly captivating. Don't look at me, it's embarrassing. She reached out to cover Badr's eyes, only to see the corners of his mouth lift slightly. Mai, will you become my wife? Being covered by Mai's hand, Badr felt calm inside. He moved his hands back to her waist, hugging her soft body, and unconsciously caressed her waist. Why ask this suddenly? Mai was taken aback by Badr's straightforward question, her heart pounding, feeling extremely shy. Badr's smile deepened. He had never thought before that he would seriously fall in love with a girl. He had always intentionally kept a low profile, rarely interacting with others, often preferring to stay alone, even just quietly daydreaming. He never felt lonely. Rather, he disliked pretending to smile and interact with people. But living in this world, it's impossible not to interact with people. There would always be things that forced him to accept. So, Badr tried hard to maintain his fake smile, making himself look ordinary, not too aloof and unique. However, everything changed after his transmigration. He not only became a devil, but also met people like Rias, who truly entered his heart. He gained the power to ignore worldly rules, allowing him to indulge his personality. Yet due to the contracts, he still had to interact with people. After becoming a devil, Badr had changed a lot. He often expressed his true emotions, rarely faking pleasantries, as he could now ignore worldly rules. More importantly, he smiled more often, genuine smiles, because he found more interesting people and things. Maybe he was meant to live in this world. The original world was so dull. He exhaled lightly, finally smiling as he removed Mai's hand, his black eyes fixed on the girl in front of him. My life used to be empty and boring, but now I think I must have come to this world to meet you all. This is when you should mention only me, my Sakurajima suddenly said with some displeasure, tugging at Badr's face. She knew Badr was a devil, couldn't judge him by human standards. He had been honest about how important his master and companions were to him, but she still didn't like not being able to have him all to herself when they were alone. Badr, his face tugged by Mai, noticed her queen-like aura returning and couldn't help but smile happily. Mai was slightly stunned, then she smiled as well. Not bad, now that smile looks much better. The first time I saw you, I really wanted to punch your fake smiling face. As she said this, she let go of Badr and snuggled into his arms.